Hello everyone, Bogdan is here, and today I'm going to be discussing a topic of how to build marketing in an online casino. So it's a voluminous topic, but I'm going to be trying to keep it short. So this is for those of you who started doing online casino, planning to do, and you want to know how to build a marketing, how to build a marketing strategy, what budget does it involve, how many people you want to have here, what KPIs you want to do, and also your break even point, your time to money, and how many actually profit you can extract from this market. So when we talk about marketing in a newly created online casino, we come from a premise that you as a owner have taken a white label casino, which is actually business as a service, and you have a traffic from a publication or whatever influences, but the publications on the whole, and these two things would take away about 50% of your GGR. So whenever you think of everything that I will be talking here, you must know that we, from the start, take away 50% of GGR of money that a casino owned and give it away, put it aside. So roughly 20% would go to the platform, to the provider of a business as a service. This is white labels, the payment solution, and everything here. The game aggregator, so you know. And roughly 30% of GGR would come for as a revenue share part to your traffic providers. So now that it is clear, we shall think what are the components of the key variables of the marketing that we should address. So first of all, when we talk marketing in online gambling, we talk acquisition, activation, and retention. So three of these variables are equally important, and this is actually the essence of the whole thing here. When we talk budget and earning here, we think two types of variables also. So when it comes to costing or cost-based accounting, we talk about cost of sales and cost of handling. So essentially, everything everything here in this discussion will revolve around acquisition, activation, retention, and will be discussed in the terms of fixed costs that you will incur, and in terms of the variable costs. So fixed costs are mostly the handling cost of handling the deal, the sale itself, and variable costs, this is the cost of sale, cost of advertisement, so on. So now, if you would try to produce a marketing strategy, you will inevitably ask yourself from where to start. So what will be the starting points without which you cannot really proceed? So I will be basing my discussion here on two premises. First is a must have a general target of the business that you start, and second, that you will inevitably incur some fixed costs as a team, and you will need to start from here. So the target, the general target, is a maximum of this business is that you have to be breaking even. So you have to be covering for all your expenses in 12 or 18 months from the start. So 1 year or 1 year and a half, this is the right time you have to break even. This is very important fact that you have to keep in mind, and all the discussion here will be based upon it. Why it's even important? It's important because this is a highly competitive market. If you cannot break even till this target, until this date, you maybe will not break even any time in future. Well, the competition is strict, is very high here. Also, there's the great deal of uncertainty in the business. So some markets may be closing or affect your activity some publications will be also closing down. So there's a great deal of you don't know what's coming up on you on the next day. So it's really crucial that you break even 1 year or 1 year and a half. And also the second thing that I was saying is that you have some fixed cost. I call them cost of handling. So whatever you do, you in the end of the day will have these costs no matter what. So this is the cost of a team, maybe the cost of rent, but mostly this is the people, the salaries that you have to pay to people, and the software that you have to employ to do your operations. So bearing in mind a need to break even after a year or year and a half in a business, and the fixed cost that you can that you shall incur, we can make any type of budget, any type of marketing strategy. We can arrive at the number of FTDs, the deposits that we want, the overall GGR or the profit or the sales that we need. So this is everything is here. Everything is in the three variables that I was saying: activation, acquisition, activation, retention, and also in the ultimate target to break even after a year or year and a half, and also in the cost of handling, in the fixed cost that you inevitably will incur. So let's proceed to the cost of handling, to the fixed cost that you will incur in term, which actually is a composition of your team. So this is your team and and the composition. So how many people, how many roles do you have, how many people, and so on. So now, actually, the marketing department will consist of three major blocks. This is the acquisition team, which is effectively affiliate marketers team. So we'll have the lead, the affiliate marketer lead. You will have probably 2 affiliate marketers, and I recommend having at least 2 lead generation specialists. So this is the team that will try to leads in terms of publication to you. So now this is very important. And the second team is activation team. So I strongly suggest that you would outsource this function. So activation team has to be taken from the market as an agency. And the retention team will probably have to consist of 2 or 3 persons, which is the CRM specialist or analysis, the person who does analysis, the email marketing specialist is the person who will actually send over emails to try to make news announcements and bonuses and so on. So bring them to the mailbox actually. And finally, the third one, it could be the brand specialist, or a SMM specialist, or someone. But anyway, if you have it or not, the role, I mean, someone has to work with the brand. The role still exists. Well, and also obviously we'll have the head of marketing or marketing director, the CMO. Well, yeah. Now in terms of the budgeting, so marketing is most of the time is the most important function of online casino operation. So you'll have the affiliate team that will cost you monthly probably 8 to 9,000 euros before tax. So I don't take taxation here into consideration. So 8.5 probably thousand euros per a team of head of affiliates, 2 affiliate marketers, and 2 lead generation specialists, or whatever you can outsource. Now it's about, as I was saying, 8 to 9,000 euro monthly. So the activation team, as I was saying, this is going to be purely outsourced, and the retention team is going to be costing about probably 7.5 or 8,000 euros per month. So you will probably need a range of softwares and services to do your job. This includes affiliate marketers, affiliate management software, the CRM, CRM extensions actually, because you will have the basic CRM from your out-of-the-box solution, your casino white label provider. Well, you also will need to have email marketing. The whole thing, email marketing, it's a software, it's a servers and everything here. You will also need some websites, building stuff like hosting and so on, and also a good deal of traffic analysis tool for your affiliate marketers. So on the whole, I will put about 3,000 euros for this softwares on a monthly basis. So together we will have about from 18 to 25,000 euro per month for the whole marketing team, including the head of marketing, whole affiliate team, retention team, and also the software and services that you would monthly buy. So in the yearly run, so it will make about 2020 closer maybe to 3,000 220,000 300,000 euros per year. So it's quite a amount, but well, anyway, that's what we have. In terms of the overall casino operations, apart from the marketing, you will may have the chief executive officer, and at least you will need a lawyer or compliance team to work with the stuff here. Maybe compliance, or you can whatever you can call it, fraud protection and so on. So overall, the whole cost of the whole fixed cost of online casino will be maybe 400,000 or 500,000 euro per year. So it's closer to 500,000 euros per year. Now, why is that important? You can get away without those fixed costs. So this is what you have to pay anyway. So now you have to create your portfolio of players, of first-time depositors, such wise that would cover up for those fixed costs. So we are coming on the geographies, selection of geographies, and the value of a player. So it's a very important topic, there are lots of subtleties, lots of fine things here, but I'm going to be like making some major focus areas here. So first of all, obviously, as you know, there will be tier 1 and tier 2 geographies, so meaning that there will be some higher profit yielding geographies, so-called tier 1, and maybe some new geographies or where people would deposit and spend less, so we call them tier 2. All right, so as a owner of business as a service, so white label casino, you probably would have a Curacao license, and this is how you can actually target many geographies. What's important is languages. So if you have an ability to localize the website and support, also support team, but most of the time support comes from on the side of white label. So I'm not putting it here because this is included most of the time in the cost of handling the software itself. So it's already been paid, as I was saying at the beginning. So we put away half of the GGR for all the stuff here. So if you have the support that speaks different languages and you can localize your website in different languages, it's highly recommendable, because you can such-wise you can target many tier 1 geographies. So what I'm actually recommending here, I recommend if trying to target the Canadian territories, Canada on the whole. If you can target Australia, but it will imply you need some payment solutions to have on board. But this is a very minor point. I can talk about it maybe somewhere on another occasion. So Canada, Australia, well, you can target UK, obviously, if it's a gray zone, but you can target UK. It's fine to target UK also. So these are 3 English-speaking countries, Australia, Canada, and UK, that are really good in terms of the lifetime value of players. Also, you may really want to try Germany now that Germany has been regulated, but you can do it using your Curacao license, at least for a while. So then also, it's interesting you have New Zealand players and Ireland players these are very high yielding, especially in New Zealand, very high yielding players. So it's good to have them too. And probably on the side of English speaking audience, it's also, apart from this, I would strongly recommend to target Nordic countries, Sweden, Finland, and Norway. Each of them, except for Norway, has their own licenses. But now that we are talking about gray zone, white label solution, we don't need those complexities for the sake of this discussion, right? So Nordic countries also highly recommended and very good. If you have ability, languages and support abilities, as well as you can have this payment solutions, it's very good to target also Austria, Netherlands, Denmark, and Switzerland. So these four, Austria, Switzerland, Denmark, and Netherlands, are very good here in the Western Europe. This probably all for the tier 1 solution. I'm not talking about US here. This is a whole another discussion. So tier 1 is done. So tier 2 is most of the time is the countries of developing world. Yeah, those are India is just really recommended here as long as you have an ability to accept there's payment solutions from India. Also South Africa, also Latin American countries, including Chile, Brazil, and Argentina. Well, also this list can be extended, but those are most of the time really the major ones. So you can add Japan also into tier 1, to tier 2. I don't actually know where to put them properly, but Japan is also fine, but as a language consideration. So now, what is the actual difference in this tier 1, tier 2 things? The actual difference is the lifetime value of a player. So we now come to the idea that those Canadian or Australian players are higher valuable than those from South Africa, obviously. So now we are talking that the lifetime value of tier 1 players, on the whole, on average, is probably 500, closer to 600 euros for the sake of this discussion. So this is the value that you can have from a player, and we premise that it is realizable over the year. So the lifespan or the duration of life of a single player is 1 year. So it's just fine. If it's more, I will discuss later, but now it's just fine. So you have them 500, 600 euros for your lifetime value that's realizable over the duration of 1 year. And when it comes to tier 2, you may think about having the value of a player at least twice lower. So it's 200, maybe sometimes closer to 300 euros per player on average. So now, coming from the idea that you have fixed cost of 400,000-500,000 euro per year, and you have them lifetime values of 600 and 300 per year, and you have those depressing need to break even for during 12 or after 12 or 18 months. So coming from these 3 points, you can easily calculate what actually you need. So my claim here is that you will actually need to be looking for 1,500 players or FTDs from tier 1 countries, and probably twice that amount, or maybe 2,000 players from the rest of the world or tier 2 countries. So together to fulfill the goal of breaking even in 12 or 18 months. So this is target one. You will need about 3.5 thousand players, 3.5 thousand players that come from tier 1, which is 150 players from tier 1 and 2,000 players from tier 2. So 3.5 thousand on the whole, 1.5 from tier 1 and 2 from tier 2. So now it's clear. What's else here? So if we put the handling cost that we have on us, that we will have on us, and we will divide it into the target number of players that we need, so we'll see probably that the handling cost per one player is around 120 euros per player. So 120 euros per player is how we break down, how we have the costs, the fixed costs broken down into the level of player. So now the cost of sales or the advertisement cost will actually differ per each tier, per each geography. What I suggest, what my second claim is that you may want to have them advertisement cost or cost of sales here in 150 euro per each player in tier 1 and probably 80 euros in tier 2. So on average, on the base of your players, you will have them advertisement cost on about 120 euro per player. So 120 for handling and 120 for advertisement and making this sale happen. So on the whole, it's closer to 250. 250 is what you give away for getting one player or one FTD or one first-time depositor. So now that the lifetime value of this one in the tier 1 will be closer to 600 and in tier 2 maybe closer to 300. So you give away 250 to get this amount. So this is fine for now to understand. This is really the basics and the starting point of all discussion here. So coming down to traffic now. When we talk traffic, we say that this is a function of affiliate marketing team on your business, and we are saying that you probably will need about 200, 300 FTDs or players from each tier 1 geography and maybe tier 2 geography. So every market, every geography shall bring you about 300 players to fulfill your goal of 3.5 thousand players altogether. So why exactly 3.5 thousand players altogether? Well, because when you sit to calculate, you will find that your sales after 18 months of start of operation will be about 1.4 million euros. So it means it is premised on the opinion or on the practice that every player will only start making money for you after 6 months from activation, from the beginning. So this is the variable or the KPI that's called time to money, and I put it 6 months. So 6 months, it's time to money. During this time, he or she will only consume your bonuses. She will make smaller deposits and so on. It may be not the case, but on average, it's good to think about it like this. So after 18 months, starting from now, so including this half of year for no money for you, but after 18 months, given 3.5 thousand players coming from tier 1 and tier 2 geographies, you will have closer to 1.4 million euros. When you think about 1 year, not 1 year and a half, but 1 year, so you probably will have closer to 80,000 euros, because most of the players, or a big portion of players, will be activated later on, because as I was saying, there's a period, a hold on period when people just were onboarded but not actually making money. So in the first year alone, you probably, out of 3,500 players of this mixed tier 1 tier 2 assemblage, so you probably make closer to 800,000 euros, and you will spend during your for your budget. As I was saying, this is a fixed cost of 400,000 or 500, the overall cost of running casino, and also you will have the cost of advertising. So this is a cost that you pay for players. So it will be closer to 900,000. So the overall calculation shows that maybe if you're lucky, you will be closing down, you'll be breaking even, just even in the end of the first year. But maybe more realistic, it will be the 13th or 14th months. But to be really successful, you have to account for or wait for maybe 18 months. This is realistic. So the whole mathematics is here. It's coming up for very sound balance here. But my prediction is that by the end of the year, you will be somewhere close to breaking even. Okay. So, but you have to remember that the cost of acquisition has to be closer to 250 euros, which consists of the half of fixed costs and half of the cost of sales, cost of advertising, which are variable costs. And this is how you move on. So you have the cost of acquisition 250, you have the number of, on average, you have the number of players 3.5 thousand, you multiply, you see the result. Now, what's important in terms of traffic, how to get this done? So to get 3.5 thousand of FTDs, you have to think about how many traffic you need. I premise that the KPI here, the actual index here, will be 5% of conversion. So out of 100 visitors or 100 clicks, you may have closer to 5 FTDs. It's a more or less quality traffic. So 5% conversion rate brings you a need for about 70,000 of clicks or users over the whole year, or maybe year and a half timeline. So this 70,000 of euros has to be broken down into 30,000 for tier 1 geographies and 40,000 for other geographies. So it probably boils down to each one particular publication has to bring you maybe about 5,000 clicks, which is not publication, each particular geography. So you have to set your affiliates team a goal that each geography may bring you about maybe 5,000 to 6,000 clicks, and so it fulfills goals. How to deal with traffic? So traffic is very important to fulfill your objective here, and you must understand that each geography will require from you 5,000-6,000 clicks, users, and will bring you probably 200-300 FTDs. Now, the structure of publications or the traffic owners in each geography is slightly different, but on the whole, you have to think about 3 pillars here. The first pillar is top 10 publications. So there will be the most expensive ones, because you have to give them a larger portion of your advertising budget. but it was so. Then also you will have 20% of the top 20% percentile of all other publications, and the rest 80%. So top 10, 20 top percent, and 80 other percent. So this is a principle, 20 to 80% in action. But you also add top 10, or top 5, the largest one. I recommend top 10. So what you're gonna do is with your affiliate team is you're gonna start with top 10, then go down to 20%, the best, and then all the rest. So yeah. So you will be thinking about sourcing. Why I'm telling this? Because understanding this is gonna be telling you the timing when you want to break even after 1 year or year and a half. Timing is crucially important. So it's really, really, really important to hit this target. So when you come to understanding timing is important, you understand that you want to source your best ones, your best publication, the traffic owners from the big media sales houses, the networks, and some visible individual publications. So these are three sources to get the large portion, the best portion of the traffic. Maybe it's not going to be the large on the whole, but you from media sales houses, from networks, and from visible ones, you get 20% of the most quality traffic in each geography. But you also have to pay money. Now that the market is very, very, very competitive, so you probably will be needing to pay money right away. So this is a burn rate, how do you want to burn your money, but still you have to be investing here. What about the 80%, the rest 80%? So rest 80%, these are smaller publications. They don't give you much traffic, if at all, but their traffic is much cheaper. So on the whole, on the side of your budget, this is probably a topic of another video, but on the side of your budget, these are the things that can save your target of CAC, or customer acquisition cost. So if you pay more for this one, you have to pay less for this one to keep your goal of 250 cost of customer acquisition. So basically, it's so much for the traffic, maybe it's all for the traffic, and we have to once again remember the key measures. So you will be needing to source probably 200, 300 players from each geography. You will need to have a lifetime value of closer to 600 from best geographies, tier 1 geographies, and 200, 300 euros for the rest geographies. You will need to keep your cost of customer acquisition on the whole closer to 250 euros, which will consist of the fixed cost on running all your business, which is the half of this money, and the rest of this money is advertisement cost, is what you're gonna give to your publishers, to the traffic owners in exchange for this particular numbers of FTD. So how you want to hunt for how you want to hunt for this traffic? You want to start with top ones, top 10. You then go 20% of the best top percentile of all. This is 20%, and all the rest. In terms of the profitability, all the rest are the most profitable because they're cheaper actually. But in terms of time to money and timing, the most expensive are very much important, because you have to this way you will source your players, you will get hold of your players right away, not waiting for forever. Okay, so now this is clear. In terms of traffic, we're set. In terms of numbers, once again, after 18 months you may expect 1.4 million of profit before tax. You may expect to get your break even at this point, maybe earlier, because as we were saying that after 1 year you shall be thinking about spending probably 900,000 euros and making probably 800,000 euro or maybe more, but you're close to breaking even at the end of the year. Okay, so let's wrap up this acquisition part and come to the activation part. So activation is very important to also to think, because when you get clicks, when you get traffic, you need to remember the key ratios. So the key ratio here is that you want to have them clicks to registration rate on of the value of 16-20%. So out of 100 users, you want to have 16 or 20 who would register at your casino. And another ratio that you have to remember is that this is a registration to FTDs, to actually deposits. So it's good to have 25-30% of registration to deposit ratio. So it means that on the whole, each fourth person who will register at the casino will make a deposit. So actually, the activation function is about this ratio. So how many of those who registered have made the deposit? So this is for those who have already opted in, but not actually have been activated, not onboarded by the support team. So you have to put in game another team of people who would activate them, because support has not actually helped to this point. Okay, so as we agreed in the beginning, this will be a whole another team. It's not going to be a part of the team. It's going to be an agency. So agency obviously will take a portion of the money for themselves, of their services too. So your objective here is to keep this money really controllable, under control. Because you remember that you actually have paid for this money through advertisement costs. But when it comes to activation, you have to pay extra. So it means that not more than 20% of the whole advertising money shall come for activation. It's good to have it variable, probably about 5% of the revenue share. So you can put away 5% of revenue share to those people who will activate them. You say, okay, you activate this one, you have 5% of his of revenue share. So it means it means really good, but it's really depending on your agency, because agency, I have a couple of names, so I can advise. So activation has to be controllable in terms of cost, because you pay twice. Now, as I was saying, it weighs on advertisement or the cost of sales. And another bad thing about activation, it requires some bonuses too. So the bonuses, you cannot overuse bonuses here. But you have to remember, the bigger the bonus you give to activate a player, the higher your overall cost of sales and the longer time to money. So at some point, it's not economically efficient to activate. Yeah, but as long as you give 5% of rev share, or not more than 20% of your whole advertising budget for activation, a specific one, it's kind of cool and you can stick to it. Alrighty, so now we come into retention. Retention is something is about the way you work with already existent player. So as we discussed, we think that our lifetime value will be 500-600 euros for T1 and 200-300 for T2, and it's realizable over the 18 months, so it's half of the year and a half. So it means that if a player will live longer than 18 months, this is a goal and this is a target. So you hit the target. So the target of your retention team is to make at least 10% of your whole client base live longer than 1 year. So it's not unrealistic on bigger ones. It's actually a small target for bigger casinos, but for a small gray hat casino is not in non-regulated geographies. It's a good way to start from. It's a good number. All right. So as we discussed, retention team shall be consistent of CRM manager or a person who does analysis and email marketing manager. It may also include brand manager if you have budget for him. As we discussed, the whole budget of the affiliate team is going to be 18 to 25,000 euro per month, which makes 220, 300,000 euros per year. So the KPIs that you want to give them is average deposit value. So it means they go to the guys and they want to make them deposit. So these will be two actual KPIs: number of deposits per month and the average value of deposits. So how much money does he or she deposit? So these are how you want to measure your retention team. And it's not going to be a big team. Two person will suffice. You want to give them good analytics. So this is a person who does CRM. He want to highlight specific ones. So and to those specific ones, you want to be choosing specific kind of promotions and bonuses that you will deliver through your email marketing or by phone, SMS, and so on. So that's maybe it's sufficient to talk about retention like this. So now, two things that I want to discuss further. First is action plan. So what you're gonna do actually and in what order. And second is risks that you may have on this road, what can go wrong and how to do with this. So action plan. Well, now, if you want to start this marketing team and you have this money, budgets and so on, you understand what I'm saying, my logic. So you want to start with hiring and onboarding people. So it's good to have them hired by a professional agency. It's faster and it's really more effective than you will spend lots of time being understaffed. So the second point or the second stage is branding. So the good way, the wise way to start working is start with upstream sourcing of business to business partners. So before you go hunting for those publications, you go right into the sales houses and the media companies of the like of GIG, Catena Media, Excel Media, and all this stuff, guys. Before you even think about it, you have to think about contacting the companies and websites that would advertise you as an affiliate program. So this way you can get attraction, get a hold of other affiliates that will find you this way. So it's advised to start hunting for B2B partners in the first place. So it also will require some making some public profile, maybe a couple of interviews of discussing your affiliate program to get before the eyes of the publication. So you have to be really at least somehow recognizable. So first is branding. First after hiring is branding and hunting upstream. So hunting for the publications, not the players, but publication traffic owners. The third idea is training. So once you get hold of some publications, not players, publications, you get the team hired, you want to train your affiliate marketers part. It means you get them scripts, you get them overall logic, you get them training on communication, and most importantly, KPIs. So KPIs boil down to what I was saying. The most important is CIC. If they hit the target of your CIC, which is on average 250 euro per player on the whole, if they make less, so this is the difference that you want to share with them as a portion, as a extra money, as a premium to the actual salaries and so on. So it's going to be not only salary, but the variable part of the remuneration, which comes calculated as a difference, as a percentage of the difference between the actual cost of acquisition and your target cost of acquisition, which is 250 euros per player on average. So yeah, once you trained this one, you go to actual work. So you're gonna start with tier 1 affiliate, recruitment. So you're gonna be finding and recruiting the publications, making business partnership with publication in tier 1 geographies. So you start with top 10, the most expensive, but the most effective, because they will give you influx of traffic right away. You start with them. After that, you proceed to the best 20% of other, also big ones or big names, other publications. You secure good spots with them. Also paying, it will take some fixed cost, so I mean flat cost, some listing fees, some hybrids. Hybrids are better to avoid, but these are minor things. So you want to pay money, and you want to make sure you burn your investment budget right here very, very effective, very, very fastly, because the more money you put in the beginning to get hold of top publishers and the higher percentile of publishers, the more effective and the faster you get to the money in the end. So after you got this top 10 or top percentile of publishers, you go on to the rest of the publishers in tier 1 geographies. So you're gonna hit those 80% of the rest. After that, when you finished, after that you go to tier 2 local partners. So you start just the same with your branding and building relations with B2B partners, the websites that would advertise you as a affiliate program. Once done, in the same fashion, you go to hunting for top 10, top percentile, and the rest 80%. So only once done, you go proceed to streamers and other types of influencers, and you finally go to retention trainings and retention checkup. And only after this, you proceed to the 80% of the rest of top 2 publishers. So when it's over, then you go ahead, you can calculate your money. So the action plan is simple. It's like here. What are the risks of the whole process? The first risk is cost of acquisition will miss the target because of the activation team overheads. So yeah, activation team may bring your cost of acquisition higher. So you have to be really attentive attentive to this, because if you see it's the case, you may probably sit down your activation team to the most higher income yielding geographies, just tier 1, and also the most potentially interesting clients, just making scoring and prediction. And also you wanna be discussing some arrangement with your activation team, because it's a real risk. The second risk is you will miss the number of tier 1 clients on the whole, because the competition is really high there, and maybe you will not get as the target number. As I was saying, it's 1.5 thousand players from tier 1 countries. If it is the case, you may expand a little bit your geographies, looking at Austria, Netherlands, Denmark, but there's not so much players there. But still, looking for Denmark, Netherlands, Austria, Switzerland, and so on. If it's not the case, you have to adjust your plans and make more players in tier 2 geographies. But remember that you have to lower your cost of acquisition. And the third point here is that you will give away excessive bonuses, which will weigh on your time to money, and which will bite off your lifetime value. So it's another risk here. If you want to be really try to incent your players, you will be given higher bonuses, and it's a longer time to money effectively. So maybe this is all I wanted to discuss right now. Let's make a short wrap up here, just to not to lose the overall idea. So the overall idea is that the online gambling marketing comes down to acquisition of traffic, activation, and retention. It will operate two types of costs. The fixed costs, these are the cost of handling all the business. This is a cost for marketing department and all the casino, the risks, the administrative costs and so on. And also the variable costs. I call them cost of sales. These are cost of advertisement, cost of activation, so on. These are variable because if you don't have players, you shall not incur these costs. Whereas if you have your casino, you must incur a cost of handling because people will get the salary anyway. So cost of sales and cost of handling the business. The overall cost, if you put it to a particular player, shall be within the range of €250 on the whole. If you take a specific mix that I recommend you, and it is 1.5 thousand players from tier 1 or most high yielding geographies, and maybe 2,000 players from the rest of the world, 2.5 maybe. So it means that you have to settle this balance and try to keep to a cost of acquisition of 250. If it's less, this is the KPI for your traffic acquisition team. You shall give them 10% of the difference as a bonus. So it's really important. What about the fixed cost? Fixed cost for your marketing team are going to be 220, closer to 300,000 euro per year, whereas the overall cost of handling and running a business will be 400,000 to 500,000 euro per year. So this is the part of money you have to put away and forget. Except for this money, you want to invest in the cost of acquisition. If you are if we set a target of breaking even after 20 or between 20 and 18 months, we have to be attracting 3,500-4,000 players with a tier 1, tier 2 geographies, with a specific lifetime value of 600 to 300 euros per each player, realizable in 1 year alone. This is the realistic numbers, no problem with them. So then it means that your cost of advertisement, the variable thing, the cost of sales or cost of advertisement, whatever you call them, will be on average just about the same as cost of handling. So it's going to be 120 euros per each player. So it will be more on the tier 1 markets and less on tier 2 markets. But on average, it will be just the same. So it is the portion of your money that you pay for acquiring a client. So now that we have discussed it, so it means that you have 400,000, 500,000 money that you put aside for running a business or cost of handling the overall business, and probably closer to this amount, maybe a little less money you have to also put aside, but over the time, because you have to pay this money for attracting your clients right away. You will also pay your revenue share, obviously, but you have to have more incentive to your traffic owners, which means listing costs, the advertisement, right away advertisement cost, flat fees, all kind of hybrids, and so on, so on, so on. So it means that you will be giving away probably closer to 900,000 euro per year, and you want to be returning the same amount of money, preferably in this by the end of the year. If not, in a year and a half. So, as we discussed, tier 1 countries are the higher yielding English-speaking countries: Canada, Australia, UK, Germany, those German-speaking, You can also target Austria, Switzerland with the German language. You can target New Zealand with English language, Ireland with English language, and also Denmark and the Netherlands. These are tier 1. And tier 2, these are developing countries like of the likes of Brazil, Argentina, Chile, South Africa, India, and so on. So you keep this assemblage, as I was saying, 1.5 thousand per tier 1 and closer to 2,000 per tier 2. You want to target, you want to get this FTDs, you want to have about 70,000 users traffic to your website, to your casino website, and you have you need to probably have about 5,000, 6,000 users from each market, each geography, which means that you have to be thinking a bit when you pick the publication. So how do you pick a publication? As we discussed, you pick top 10, the best ones, the most expensive. You then go to, once fixed, once paid, you can then go to the 20% of the higher percentage or top percentile, and once fixed, you go to the 80% of the whole rest. But the trick is that those 80% will be the most economically effective to you, but they will pay you off over the long time. So they will make your time to money not that interesting. So this is why you want to be paying in advance to the big names. But in the end of the day, after 1 year and a half, you will see that this 80% of the whole rest of the smaller ones are the most interesting in terms of money. They're more economically effective to you. So now that this is set, the traffic you have, the activation team, please mind that it's important to keep the cost of activation not more than 20% of the whole variable cost of sales, because it's a risk here. And the activation should be given to external team also. So when it comes to retention is done over the small team of two or three people. One's doing analysis of players part, and the other one goes for signaling them through email or SMS and so on. And the third one, if you have her, is branding or recruiting the affiliate businesses, affiliate publications, branding, interviewing, and so on. Also, it's important to do content sharing with your publications, to constantly interviewing and keeping an eye on how they work. So it's a relation business, but it's really pay off. So the action plan, we discussed that you start from hiring, you start from branding, because it's really fine to start from making you visible on the business press, and after that you go with you go into training and setting clear KPIs to your traffic team, acquisition team, and then you go from most important to less important. You go tier 1, the best ones, and go like here. You go to tier 2, the best ones, then you stop, you go finding influences, you go checking your retention and so on, and when it's done, you go to the rest of tier 2. These are the most numerous category, like 80% of all tier 2. So when it's done, you go to calculating your profits. And the risks, we discussed the risk. This is a cost of acquisition will miss the target due to the fees that your activation team will require. Another thing is that tier 1 clients may be not sufficient in number, so you hit this point, but you have to then expand your geography, your search, or you have to take more tier 2 clients, but for less budget, for less cost of acquisition. And the third idea is that you have to avoid excessive bonuses, because they will make your way to money, time to money longer. So this is practically all that I want to discuss here in the marketing part of this video, of how to set up a casino, how to do marketing for a casino, and I'm thank you for watching. I'm thankful for everybody who's watching here. And if you have more questions or you want to discuss things up with me, I'm ready here for you. So you want to drop me a mail or make comment for this video. Thanks. Bye.